There are many ways to play Helldivers too. You can be someone who destroys everything in their path with the biggest weapons, doing copious amounts of damage to the enemy as well as friendlies. There's those that prefer a more sneaky approach, using smoke and other forms of stealth gear to get by the enemy undetected. Then there's those that we will be talking about today. Those that like a laser show and wish they were at a rave or something. Today we're going to be talking about the laser build, what it consists of, and what factions it's good at. This is the build for you if you like bright yellow beams blinding you and setting everything on fire. This will be the first of 4 videos where I cover the 4 big builds that aren't strictly ballistic. They are the laser build, which we're going to go over today, the fire build, which I'm going to cover next, the arc build, and the gas build, which I'll be covering soon after the arc build, of course, or the the fire build, but still, we'll get to them soon. If you're interested in seeing those when they come out, then hit the subscribe button and leave a like, as well as turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on those videos. But today, we're going to be talking about the laser build. The reason we're starting with the laser build is because I put a vote out on my channel asking which build was the best, and the favorite, by a pretty hefty margin, more than double anything else, was the laser build. So let's talk about it. First of all, there are a few different ways to structure your laser build, meaning you have some decisions you can make. The first of which is what primary weapon you're going to be taking. There are 3 laser primary weapons, and they are fairly different depending on what you're going to be going for. You first have the Las 5 Scythe. Now, the Scythe fires a continuous beam at its target and can set its target on fire. Now, this continuous beam can be fired for up to 8 seconds and deal 350 damage per second. Now, it's an alright weapon, but personally, I never see anyone use it. The damage is just a little bit low, and yes, the fire damage is nice, but again, there's other things for that. Now, the second laser weapon is the Las 16 Sickle. Now, the Sickle is a projectile-based laser weapon, which kind of doesn't make any sense, but you can see what I mean on screen if I've remembered to put it there. The Sickle can fire continuously for up to, before overheating, for 7 seconds or 87 projectiles. It does deal a significant amount more damage per second than the Scythe at 687 damage per second, almost double. Now, the Sickle doesn't set its targets on fire like the Scythe does, so there is that disadvantage. Still a pretty good weapon and a favorite among Helldivers, until this next weapon was released. The Las 17 double-edged Sickle is one of the best guns in the game. The only thing you have to worry about is setting yourself on fire. Literally, I'm making a double-edged Sickle video soon, but in short, it can fire indefinitely, but at the cost of setting yourself on fire. However, you only start to set yourself on fire after about 15 seconds. Before that, you take very little damage, especially if you're using the inflammable armor, which I would suggest anyway with this build, just because, well, you're using lasers and lasers, fire, all that kind of thing. You know, take the inflammable armor passive because you'll really want that. Now, of course, the double-edged Sickle is a very complex weapon, but it is very good, and it is by far the best of the primaries, so that's what I would be taking. And again, I'll be making a video on it soon, so stay tuned for that. Next up are the secondaries, and there's only 2, and the Las 7 Dagger sucks. It's basically a Las 5 Scythe, but it is worse, has worse heating and all that stuff. So take the Las 58 Talon. It's projectile based, but it does really good damage, and it just fits the name secondary absolutely perfectly. The final part of this build is the stratagems. First off, the orbital laser is, well, it's pretty obvious. It is one of the best, if not the best stratagem in the game, able to crush an entire Automaton heavy outpost in seconds. Literally, I've tested it. So, it's an automatic on this list. Everyone should have seen that coming. It is fantastic and one of the better stratagems in the game, making the laser build actually pretty viable against everything. We then have the Guard Dog Rover, or the Laser Dog. This one should be pretty obvious, and it is pretty good. I won't say much here as I have a video already about it if you want to learn more about it. Basically, it sets things on fire and kills things occasionally. Now, the final part of this build is somewhat difficult choice, and it depends on your playstyle. You have the choice between the Las 98 laser cannon and the Las 99 quasar cannon. Now, some people might say the quasar cannon isn't quite a laser cannon because it shoots a single projectile and it cools down. I mean, it is technically a laser cannon. It has Las in the name, so that's good enough for me, and we're going to consider a laser weapon anyways. So yeah, no, the only thing you really need to worry about with these two is what you're fighting. The Quasar Cannon really only makes sense against the Automatons because, well, it can deal with the Fabricators, it can deal with a lot of the bigger enemies, Hulk specifically, it can deal with tanks if you hit the right spot, it can deal with the turrets and all that stuff, but the laser cannon can't. However, the laser cannon can destroy Terminids and Illuminate flesh mobs because, well, the laser cannon does fire damage, which is fantastic. So it works very, very well against the Illuminate and the Terminids. So I would definitely take it against them, and I would not take it against the Automatons simply just because it really does struggle. So yeah, that's pretty much what we're going to be discussing between these two. So again, laser cannon, good for flesh mobs, meaning not the little flesh mob. Well, yes, the little flesh mob, but anything with a fleshy exterior, very good for that. The Quasar Cannon, good for large enemies with metal, meaning Automatons. So that's basically all I gotta really worry about with that. Now, the final stratagem spot is for literally anything you want. There's no other laser weapons, so you can just build around what you're good at, what fits well into this build. I typically take like a strafing run or like a personal shield, or not the one you're wearing a back, but the shield generator. Sorry, I get all confused with these things. The shield generator thing that just, you know, lands and has a really short cooldown, as it is pretty good. But again, you can do whatever you want because this is just an open spot. So that's the laser build. But is it really all that good? In short, yes. At least against the Terminids and the Illuminate. It does struggle a little bit against the Automatons, but it's still good. The biggest advantage with this build is that you don't have to rely on resupplies. If you can manage your cooldowns, then you will never need any resupply. Your primary weapon, if you keep it like specifically using the double-edged sickle, you never need to reload it. You just hold the trigger down and then switch to whatever secondary or support weapon you're using and let your double-edged sickle cool down, and then you never have to worry about ammo. Now, yes, of course, you do have to worry a little bit about resupplying for stems, which, to be fair, will be kind of an issue if you're using the double-edged sickle because you will be setting yourself on fire more or less, and grenades. But again, you don't need to worry about it that much. So yeah, basically it works really well in dealing with everything and not having to rely on resupply as much. You'll have ammo for as long as you're alive, which is good. Overall, the laser build is a very good one, setting a lot of things on fire and dealing tons of damage, as well as not having to worry about the ammo. Now, with all that being said, remember, Helldivers, for Super Earth and managed democracy. I'll see you next time.